In this course, we're going to look at some of the offensive tactics for indoor volleyball. So in a tactics checklist, there's a series of ways that we want to look at how to set up our offense. The first is to look at our attackers in our system. What is the strength of our attackers? Who is in the front line? Who's in the back line? What type of speed do we want to run? In USA, that's a really important part of that for us. The second part we're going to look at is the system that our opponents are. Is their system a bunch read? Are their blockers in tight? What is their defense doing? Are they in a perimeter defense or are they playing pretty straight up? And the third part is to look at our opponent's blockers. And so the individuality of each of those blockers. Is there a weaker blocker that we want to go at and attack? Is there a really strong blocker that we may want to challenge in a different way? And a few of the things that we're going to watch some film on here is how to best attack space, how to isolate a given blocker, how to overload a given blocker, and when do we want to run short or long sets, short or long strings. So in this video, we're going to look at how do we attack space. We have 4 attackers versus 3 blockers. And so how are we finding that space? Let's check it out. This is, of course, using our back row attack options. Here you see the USA women's team, and we'll see a back row attack. So you can see we have a go on the outside, a tight quick with Tori Dixon. On the backside, we have a red with Jordan Larson. And then you see this attack at the back row with Kelsey Robinson really attacking the space of Argentina's block. This is important that we study our own selves, know our strengths, but then also knowing what those blockers are going to do. How do they react to the quick attack? How do they react to the back row attack? What do their blockers do? This is what we can study in our scouting report. Athletes can study that. Coaches can study that. But knowing kind of how they're going to react is a big part of it. You can see here, this middle blocker, the opponent middle blocker, will be right in front of our quick attack, leaving our BIC with some space. Well scouted. The quick attack in the back row, the quick and the BIC option is often a great option to have both an overload, and we'll talk about that later, but also to be able to put this attacker into some space. It's a great option, and when run fast, it's a very, very effective option. To isolate is our second tactic that we'll cover. This is simply creating one-on-one opportunities. So let's watch a few of those. So this may be, we'll watch Brazil's middle and how they react to our quick attack or our quick routes. So watch what Brazil's middle does. She gets right in front of our quick route and allows us to recognize that and set one-on-one for Kelsey Robinson on the outside. Again, here, let's watch the opponent middle blocker and how she reacts to the quick attack. She steps to the quick attack, leaving our red or our back set a lot of space and a one-on-one opportunity for Annie Drews on the right. This is a commit. We call this a commit block. You'll see the opponent middle blocker, number 14. She's jumping with our quick. We have to recognize that that's happening either throughout the game or that's something that tactically they put together to try to stop our quick attack and be able to create one-on-one opportunities on the outside. Here's another example of that with our men's national team. Commit on the quick attack, and we recognize that and we set away from it, allowing for a one-on-one from Matt Anderson. So when we're in game prep mode and we're looking at the strength of our attackers and the weakness or how we want to expose an opponent blocking system, this is definitely one way that we can do that. And it's an easier way too if we're communicating from staff to athletes on the bench in a match or in a practice setting, that we can very easily tell, hey, we want to isolate the left side blocker because we have a quick attack commit. And this is our girls U18 team. So again, we can run this at any age. We want to make sure that we're isolating and creating good one-on-one situations. The third tactic we'll look at is an overload. This is when we put 2 attackers into one blocker's zone. So here you'll see we'll put 2 attackers. We'll have number 22, Haley Washington, and number 15, Kim Hill, into this right side blocker for Bulgaria in her zone. She's really going to have to choose who does she want to focus on, and that often has either a late arriving blocker or, in that case, 0 blockers in front of our hitter. So here we can watch number 7 for Japan, late arriving blocker, because there's 2 attackers in her zone. She has a quick attack and she's now has to worry about the red. So just late arriving is sometimes all the time we need to be able to find some holes and some daylight in the block. These are some really nice examples here. We can overload by also going into the quick attack. Okay, so you see this middle and the setter have 2 people in their zones. They have a quick and they have a go. Late arriving right side blocker gives Michelle Barch just enough space where she can attack line. That's sometimes all we need. Our attackers do a really nice job of seeing that daylight. Here we'll see a side by side, one where we set into the quick and one where we set over to the go. A big part of that for the setters watching is to make sure we're as neutral as possible. That's going to be really, really difficult for the blockers to read. That's so important in most offensive systems that we run, but really when we want to make sure we're doing a good job with the overload. Here's our men's national team. Same thing, late arriving or an overload of the right side blocker here. When we move short, this is an awesome time to run this. Really, really tough when you have a blocker in a bunch, like number 20 there. It's a really tough ball to defend. Again, our girls youth national team, U18 team, late arriving right side. Again, really nice time to run that when you're moving short towards your quick hitter, and we can just set over the top. So we're going to watch, the last thing we're going to look at is the long and short string. Or the long set and the short set. And when is it going to be a good time to do this? Okay, so we'll see a few examples. When we talk about the jack in language, that's the long back set. We often like to do this when you can see, again, we'll see this again here. Brazil, the middle blocker there in yellow, she's going to move forward with the ball. And so that's a great time to set long. Gives us a nice isolate, gives us a one-on-one opportunity. Here's another example of a jack. The middle blocker here in the blue moves forward along with our pass, with the setter. And we know this, we've scouted this, and we're able to go against it. The Jill is just the opposite. The Jill is going forward, long ball going forward. So you can see here, the middle blocker takes a step to her left. It's a good chance for us to go long. Short strings going to be really important, especially if you have a middle blocker on the opponent who remains in a read, isn't moving a ton. We want to make sure we exploit that. So this middle blocker, she just simply takes one step, but then she stops, she reads, and the short string is really hard for her to go and defend. Here's another example of that with Japan. You see this middle number 5. She reads, she's not moving early. We know this, we've scouted this, and we want to exploit it by making sure we run some of that short string. Sometimes the short string just fast enough where it's difficult. So here you see They move with us, but it's just fast enough that our attacker's on the right step, and it's a great choice. Thanks for watching this session. Wish you the very best of luck. What I'd love for you to do is, now that you know and understand these tactics, when you see Team USA playing, whether it's in the Olympics or in the VNL or in any major tournament, you could see our teams playing in professional leagues. But when you see Team USA playing, I want you to record with your phone, record it and hashtag this and tell us what kind of tactics are you seeing and how are we being the best offensive team that we can be using some of these tactics.